Hello, Public Access presents All About Books with Paul Kinkade.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Paul Kinkade, and somehow you have found Public Access TV's show All About Books. It's the show where we read them so you don't have to. But before we get on with tonight's guests, I need to bring you up to date on an incident that happened on our last show with Mr. Thomas Crisp, the bee whisperer. I've spent the last 10 days pretty much by Mr. Crisp's bedside, and I'm happy to report that pretty much now all the swelling has gone down. The only thing remaining are his lips that resemble something like a life preserver on the Titanic might be. But they're coming down day by day, and we'll be able to have him back on the show in no time. Absolutely no time at all. So anyway, tonight's program, what's it going to be? I'm going to tell you. You know, in my younger years, I used to like hiking around, maybe a mile or two. But tonight's guest put me to shame and put many other people to shame. His name is Kenny Knuckler. His book, I've got to get this out right away, Juan, is get a close of it. There you go. Nothing Stops Me Rambling. And he says that because, remarkably, over the last 50 years, Mr. Kenny Knuckler has walked across the United States. And, well, if the show was any cheaper, I guess I'll let it drop on the floor. Well, anyway, he has taken 50 years to walk across the United States. And the first question I have to ask Kenny is, do you mind if I call you Kenny?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay, Kenny, I'm going to call you Kenny. Kenny. Kenny, why did it take you 50 years to walk back and forth across the United States?
I wasn't in a hurry.
You weren't in a hurry?
And
yes,
I only took 35 steps a day.
35 steps a day?
That's it.
Something like that. How long did it take you to go check your mail?
It took me 10 steps to check the mail.
10 steps?
Yeah.
And how about if you had the mailbox at the end of the driveway?
Well, I wasn't in the driveway. I was walking.
Yes. Okay. Well, back to your book. Your book is catching on with the hiking crowd, and I skimmed through it, and I found so many fascinating things about it, about places you visited across the country, many of which I'd never heard of. Why don't you start first telling us about the Grand Canyon, when you walked across the Grand Canyon?
Well, that was a good long walk there, because it's like a mile down and a mile back up. So that took me a long time. And then there's water on the bottom.
Okay.
So I had to take a raft across, and that didn't count any of the walking, though.
Oh, okay. Where'd you get the raft from?
I made arrangements for it before I went down.
With who?
With a rafting company.
With a rafting company. Okay. So, traversing across the Grand Canyon, how long did it take you the first time? Have you done it more than once over the 50 years?
No, just once.
Just once?
Once is enough.
Once is enough.
Once is enough.
And was there any negative thing about crossing the Grand Canyon that you disliked?
Well, I didn't care for the burro dung.
The burro dung?
Yeah. You step in that every once in a while.
Donkey crap for our viewer out there. Okay. And is that all?
That's about all.
And what time of year was it that you crossed the Grand Canyon? It
was in the spring.
In the spring. And what does that mean? Milder temperatures?
Milder temperatures, and the water's higher down in the river.
Is this water you can drink?
I wouldn't drink it.
You wouldn't drink. Did you bathe in it?
I did.
You did. Was that, how often on your trek across the country did you bathe?
Whenever I came to some water that
was
big enough to bathe in.
Okay, but couldn't that sometimes be days and weeks before you came to a body of water that was big enough for you to do that?
Oh, that could be days, not weeks, but days.
and did you?
Always can find a bathtub someplace.
So did you carry around a stick of deodorant while you were hiking?
Yeah, no.
Why?
Yeah, I don't use deodorant.
Oh, I'd be lying if I said I couldn't tell.
But I know one time I was in Oregon, and I went down the Mackenzie River. You ever been in there?
No.
It's a nice little river. It's 47 degrees year round.
The temperature of the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. But I don't remember reading about the Mackenzie River in your book.
Oh, well, I don't know why. That should have been in there. Maybe I'll write another one.
Yeah.
River rafting.
River rafting. Okay. How about, did you ever have a chance to go, well, I know you did, the time you went to Nashville?
Yeah, I went to Nashville. Went to the Grand Ole Opry.
Did you?
Yeah.
Now, did you actually
Opry.
sit, or did you just walk through?
No, I sat.
You sat? Did you
It
have
was only 33 steps a day.
Okay.
So,
Did you have a ticket?
yes, I had a ticket.
Well,
You don't get in there free.
Well, I don't know. I've never been. I'm relying on your expertise to tell me and our viewer what it was like to go to Nashville.
It was nice.
It was nice.
I think the best part, though, was Elvis Presley's house.
Oh, did he invite you in?
He wasn't alive.
Oh, well, see, I didn't know what time.
He
Within the
probably
50
would
years,
have.
he would have. He would have. You were an old fan of Elvis?
Not really a fan, but I just wanted to see his house. And he has a racquetball court there that has gold records hung on the wall, on both walls.
Both walls?
Gold records.
Wow.
It's a lot of gold records.
Yeah, a lot of records?
Yeah.
Did you count them?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, did with Elvis's house, did you just do a walkthrough, or did you go on the tour?
We went on a tour.
Did you get to ride so that you didn't have to use up any of your 33 steps?
No, I don't use up my 33 steps when I'm not on the road. If I'm just in a house, that doesn't count.
Oh, that doesn't
towards
count.
the 33 steps.
So it wouldn't be a problem if you were in a house, ate something that disagreed with you, and you had to make multiple trips to the bathroom because of it.
Now, that happened once, too.
Oh, and where was that at?
That was in, I think that was in the desert.
In the desert.
Yeah,
That's a bad place for that to be.
it's a bad place.
So what'd you do? What you had to do? Well, I'm sad to hear that. Well, tell us about your visit to the Big Apple, because I know that was one of the most important places that you trekked through.
Yeah, I went to the Big Apple. Went to the Radio City Music Hall. Saw the Rockettes.
Oh, of course. Of course.
You know, but the show's not the same as it used to be.
They don't kick as high?
No, it used to be they show a movie, they do the Rockettes, they show another movie.
And what year was that?
That was like 1950, 1960.
1960.
Yeah.
Well, you were barely old enough to get in. I'm sure they had a age limit.
No, there's no age limit.
No?
No.
Well, I haven't seen the Rockettes, so I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
No, it's just dancing girls.
Okay, Dancing Girls, but no movie
No
after
movie.
or before.
Right.
Well.
Plus it costs $35 for a ticket now.
But by now, weren't you something of a celebrity walking across the country? Couldn't you perk some of these things into getting free admission?
No, I wasn't a celebrity till I wrote the book.
Till you wrote the book.
Nobody knew me.
Well, evidently a lot of people know you now. Your book's selling like hotcakes. The only thing they need on top of that is a nice big bottle of syrup, and these hotcakes are flying out the window.
Out the window.
Out the window. And I should remind the audience that Mr. Knuckler, the thing about his crossing the country, he's taken 50 years to cross the country because he's gone by foot. Oh, anyway, because it started with a girl.
Well, it kind of ended with a girl.
Doesn't it always?
Doesn't it always? She kind of dumped me, and I started walking.
You started walking?
I started walking
Now, where was it that she dumped you?
on the East Coast.
What, on a freeway or something? Was she driving? She threw you out and you had to walk?
No, she just dumped me.
Just dumped you.
Stopped refused to see me anymore.
And were you in the habit of experiencing these kind of dumps more than?
No, I wasn't. That's why I started walking.
Uh-huh.
And it took all that time because it took that long to get her out of my memory.
50 years?
50 years.
You must have really been down in the dumps.
Well, she was pretty good looking.
You know, should had to be. So tell me, in 50 years, first off.
It wasn't exactly 35 every day.
Okay, but
I won't forget the time I was up in Maine, and it was in February.
Yeah.
And it was cold. It was like 10 degrees above zero.
Uh-huh.
And I got a ride, and I said, "Are you going all the way down to Portsmouth?" And the guy said, "Well, sure I am." He said, "Do you want a ride or not?" And I said, "Well, if you go all the way to Portsmouth, I'll take a ride." He said, "Get in."
How long had you been waiting for a ride?
No, about 10, 15 minutes.
But how cold was it?
It was 10 degrees.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cold.
So we get halfway down the main turnpike, and he pulls over and he says, "I'm getting off here." And I said, "Well, I thought you were going to Portsmouth." And he said, "Well, I changed my mind and I'm getting off here."
Well,
But that's in the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
So I got out of the car. I mean, what could I do? I got out of the car, and luckily I had a big, heavy jacket in my suitcase, so I put that on, and I'm standing there, and it's the bottom of a hill.
Uh-huh. Well, I see, Kenny. Well, tell me, Kenny, may I call you Kenny?
When the cars come down that hill, they're going fast.
Okay.
Because it isn't like it's flat.
Is there snow and ice?
On the sides of the road, there's snow and ice, but the road was clear.
The road was clear, so the car didn't come sliding down.
No.
Okay.
Flying down.
Flying down. And where were you standing at the time?
I started on the side of the road, but the longer I stood there, the colder I got, and I edged my way out towards the center so they would see me, because you're on the side of the road, they don't see you.
What time of day was this?
Night.
Nighttime.
Nighttime.
But they might see you too late.
Well, I was ready to run.
Okay. And ready to walk. Back to the walking now.
So finally a guy from the Navy came along and stopped. And he was going to Portsmouth. And I got in and I was freezing.
Did you happen to know him?
No, I didn't know him. He was in the Navy.
Did he have a heater in the car?
He had a heater. But he didn't have any alcohol, he said.
Oh.
He said, "Oh, I got some warm beer." I said, "I'll take it."
And did you?
I did.
Was he taking it too?
No.
Because he was driving?
Because he was driving.
Ah, good guy. I know from your book that you one of your adventures took you to Nashville. Do you care to elaborate?
Yeah, I went to Nashville. I took a tour around. Now, you know what? The steps I take, the 35 steps, only count when I'm on the road.
Oh.
They don't count when I'm in a restaurant.
Okay.
Or they were in somebody's house or like that. Only
when you're on the road.
the steps on the road, yeah.
Few weeks ago, we had Penny Loafer on our show, and she talked a lot about shoes. And the question comes to mind: how many pairs of shoes did you go through over these 50 years?
Over the 50 years, I went through almost 100 pair of shoes.
Wow.
Almost 100
So
pair.
did you carry them? So when you needed a pair, you just threw them on, or did you have to buy them along the way?
I'd buy them along the way.
And any shoe in particular?
No, just whatever struck my fancy.
Okay, that sounds good. So besides Nashville, can you pinpoint some other places?
Well, let's not go away from Nashville too quick.
So back to your road trip. You tell me, I find it fascinating about the time you went to the Grand Canyon.
Oh, and the Grand Canyon was interesting. That's I walked down one side and up the other. And it's like a mile down and a mile up, so that took me a long time.
And technically, you were on a road while you were doing this, so I assume you could take more than 35 steps to get down.
Yeah.
And the same one up.
And all I had to watch was the sliding down.
Because it was dangerous. You start sliding, you would stop.
Yeah.
And then you get down a lot faster.
Steep.
Was it water on the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
How deep was it?
It was about 30 feet deep.
Well, had you fallen, now that probably would hurt you. Unless you hit a rock. You ever think about that?
I thought about that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fall.
You didn't want to fall. You heard it here, friends. He didn't want to fall. So tell me, when you left the Grand Canyon, where else did you go? Was that your only dealing with the hazardous ways with water and everything?
Oh no. I was up in Oregon, and I went down the Mackenzie River.
As fascinating as all this is, Kenny, I'm afraid our time together in discussing, or kind of discussing, your book, Nothing Stops Me Rambling, and boy, do I think that's an apt title. I want to thank you for visiting us with us this evening, and hope all of your travels in the future are fun, fair, and offer you the freedom that I think you deserve and need. And
Thank you.
why don't we close out the show with doing a little of the walking, and we'll do that right now.
Sure.
Just till next week, friends. This is Paul Kinkade from All About Books, direct to you from Public Access TV, saying goodbye for now.
You've been watching All About Books with Paul Kinkade. You can find Kenny Knuckler's new book, Nothing Stops Me Rambling, at the following shops. At Pepe's Books by Mule Mail, down at the very bottom of the Grand Canyon. Got to see that. Or he'll be signing books all summer at Graceland, which I think is in Memphis, Tennessee, but don't quote me on that one.